So in today's episode of the Honda CM450 Café Racer build, we're going to take the engine completely off the frame, we're going to clean it, degrease it, check the valve clearance, likely adjust that. Alright, stay tuned. Cheers. Are you Okay, so we broke a bolt, but we're going to deal with that later. So to get the engine out of the frame, you need to take basically everything off the bike. So you need to take the exhaust off, the mufflers, the carbs, obviously the gas tank and seat. The exhaust system gave me some difficulty, one, because the mufflers were like rusted to the headers, and two, because there was a bolt I missed that was tying the headers to the frame. So just double check you've got all the bolts loose before you start trying to pull stuff off the bike. Broke another fuck. So the screw extractor did not work, unfortunately, so I'm just going to drill it out and tap it later. So if you're pulling your engine out of your frame, make sure you're disconnecting everything from the engine. Things that you might forget are any of the electricals from the alternator, you've got an oil pressure sensor, you've got your clutch cable. There's a ton of stuff that's connected to your engine. You want to make sure you disconnect all that before trying to pull your engine out. So the diagram shows you all the bolts you need to take to be able to get the engine off the frame. So make sure you can account for all of those. So now we're able to do the valve clearance adjustment. We're going to turn the crankshaft counterclockwise to where the T aligns with the mark on the case. This shows that we've got our piston at top dead center. Next, just check the rockers for movement. That's going to tell you which piston is at top dead center. So the valve clearance for the intake is 0.10 millimeters, and the valve clearance for the exhaust is 0.14 millimeters. For the intake, you're going to have two valves to adjust, and for the exhaust, you're going to have one valve to adjust per cylinder. So it's pretty straightforward. Loosen the locking nut, then turn the adjusting screw till you have a little bit of drag on your feeler gauge, and then tighten it back up. So I'm rotating the crankshaft 360 degrees until the T lines up again so that I can do the other three valves. I didn't end up showing it just because you've already seen how it's done. So now we're going to put everything back together and start to prep it for paint. Is it just me, or are these kind of cuts always super satisfying? So now I'm going to try to get the broken stud out of the header. If you haven't seen this, this is a great technique for extracting broken studs like this. You just weld a nut to the stud and then you can back it out with the wrench. Unfortunately, the stud ended up breaking clean off, so I'm going to have to drill it out and tap it, which I'm going to end up doing in a later video. So this broken exhaust header stud, it's giving me so much trouble. If you have any advice, feel free to leave it in the comments. I would appreciate any insight. That's going to do it for this week. Hopefully I was able to help you if you're doing your own valve clearance. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to be jumping back onto this engine. I want to get it painted, and then we're also going to get the broken stud out of the case. Again, I've got new merch, art done by Sophie Rhino. Thanks so much. I think it looks really good. If you missed any of my previous videos or builds, I'll put that on the screen. And finally, if I can build a bike, then so can you guys. Cheers.